Hello everyone, and we are here for a very unique shoot interview. In fact, it's not a shoot interview at all. It is a how-to, and we are joined...
It's a beat-me-up interview. You're going to beat me with clubs later. I know that.
We are joined by the legendary Jim Cornette, and thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very little. You're welcome even less.
And basically what we're going to do is give you a variety of topics, and you will tell us how to do it correctly.
And I will confuse everyone to the utmost ability of the law.
All right, let's start with promos. What should every wrestler do in a basic promo?
You know, once again, this is all such a long, involved process, and it's experience. You can't really tell somebody exactly what to do in a how-to tape. However, it depends on the promo. If it's a local promo or something geared to a pay-per-view or a specific event, then naturally you got to sell the match. You got to sell the people on the idea that what they're about to see is the dadgumdest fight they're ever going to see in their life. It's going to beat everything they've ever seen before. It's going to be worth the price of admission and more. And you've got to get them involved in the issue or the subject or the confrontation or whatever it may be. And a lot of that comes from the heart. And you've got to be able to, I tell the guys in OVW a lot, I don't want you to memorize some cute, clever phrase that you've thought of or something like that. If you can do that naturally, it's great. But instead of memorizing exactly what you're going to say and standing there with the deer caught in the headlights, Stepford wives look and go, I will beat you on June 21st because I am better, then no, people don't believe that. They're going to click, click, what's that sound I hear? Television stations all across America are sets, click, 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 click. They want to hear somebody from the heart say, I hate your fucking guts, and I'm going to kill you. That's what they want to hear. Jerry Springer. When Jerry Springer was legitimate, the producer would get one side in one room and one side in the other room, and they'd fire him up. You wouldn't believe what so-and-so said about you. Well, you wouldn't believe what so-and-so said about you. By the time they come out on stage, they're ready to kill each other. But then they were getting too many lawsuits and everything. Now Jerry Springer is phony. Imagine that. A reality talk show fixed, but Jerry Springer's phony. It's people acting, playing a part, and you can tell when you watch it. You can tell those people are not genuine, they're not legitimate, and therefore, Jerry Springer now, because of the name, is still on television, but instead of 4 o'clock on the ABC affiliate, he's at 2 in the morning on the UPN, because it's yesterday. You've got to have some kind of legitimacy. When I've got something I always tell the guys. When somebody knocks on the door, if I say, come in, I'm a good worker. Somebody knocks on the door, I say, is that the phone? I'm a bad worker. Because I'm not listening to what's going on. It's not acting, it's reacting. If you're not listening to somebody that's yelling at you, that's getting in your face, that's telling you what's going on, if you're not listening to them, if you're just thinking, now as soon as he stops, then I'm going to say this and this and this and this and this, and that'll really be cute. Well, then he's going to say, yeah, I'm going to beat you, I'm going to take your title, I'm going to run you out of town, and by the way, your wife blew me last week. Oh, you think you're going to take my title, huh? He threw that last part in just because he thought of it. You're not listening, so now all of a sudden people go, wait a minute. Losing the title's more important than his wife blowing the face. Listen to the people that are talking to you. If you're having a confrontation with somebody, you get up in their face, you listen to what they say, you respond to it, and you mean it. People will buy. I'm not saying we can put the genie back in the bottle. Professional wrestling, in most cases, although now there are people who go into business for themselves, there's things that happen, but in most cases, professional wrestling, the people take it as entertainment instead of legitimacy. Easier on us. I was talking to Bobby Heenan about that the other week. Bobby Heenan, classic thing he said, a caller on the radio show we were on said, why can't the guys get heat anymore where they want to kill the heels and stab the heels and shoot the heels and beat up the heels with clubs and blunt instruments? And Bobby said, watch television, watch the news. There's war going on in Iraq. There's people killing their husbands and wives and dumping them in the bay. There's people getting their heads cut off. How can you get heat by pulling some guy's trunks? And it's true. People are immune to that. They're so immunized to violence. But still, if there's a personality that the people believe in, if there's an issue that's on television that they can say, okay, so-and-so, they should be mad. And if the guys get up in each other's face and they carry it off, and maybe there's a little bit of, sticking the other guy in it too, that's what sells tickets. Jerry Jarrett used to love to have Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee wrestle each other because even when they were partners, the people knew they hated each other. Lawler was the top star. Dundee couldn't really get over him, but Dundee was the workaholic, and he was there to book or to work or to do whatever Jerry Jarrett wanted. And Jerry Lawler, if his house was on fire, he'd say, hold on a second, show will be over in a minute, I'm watching TV. You know, he doesn't get upset about anything. Never freaks out about anything. So you had two very disparate personalities, and they didn't like each other. And the people knew it. So even if they were both baby faces, people knew that Lawler and Dundee, they don't get along. When they were wrestling each other, that's when they'd come out. Lawler would say, Dundee, you got a big problem because you're 5'2" and I'm 6'2", and you know, because Dundee was, you know, a little sensitive about his size. And Dundee would say, well, every time I ride in the car with Lawler, he's going to put in Jerry Lawler's greatest hits, all those 5 albums that he produced that went plywood. They were on the verge of becoming sheetrock when they, you know, they weren't released. They escaped. And he'd say, I can't stand to hear any more Jerry Lawler's greatest hits. And the point is, there was legitimate heat that they would bring up. So when you can stick somebody, and I always, when I was doing promos, I would go for the jugular. I would go to make those baby faces mad, because when they came back, there wasn't anything really that they were allowed to say on television without getting kicked off the air that they couldn't say to me that I would get mad about, because I pretty well decimated them down to their testicles anyway. So, promos, going on too long. Make them believable. Have a conversation, have an argument, have a confrontation. Don't memorize this script that you think that's going to be cute, and you're going to say a lot of things that people are going to go, ooh, he said that, because they aren't going to believe it. Dusty Rhodes. You know, once again, Dusty Rhodes on the closed captioning. Watch WCW Saturday Night in the days when Dusty did commentary. The closed captioning reader couldn't read him. They don't know what the Dusty Rhodes are trying to think. They're all, man, he pancaked him, man, flapjacked him, man, honey, we're going to have gravy tonight. I don't know what to tell you. Nobody knows what Dusty's saying, but when he looked in that camera, and he said, Old Anderson, one thing you're going to remember in the Omni, Friday night, payback is hell, Daddy. Now we know what Dusty Rhodes said. He's going to kick Ole Anderson's fucking rosy red ass Friday night in the Omni. We got to be there. Dusty could talk him in the building. Even if you didn't understand what he was saying, he could talk him in the building. It's emotion, it's passion, it's intensity. Don't script things. Don't write things. I never had a script handed to me because I can't remember them anyway. I never say the same thing twice, the same way. You can't do that. It's got to come from the heart, passion, emotion. And if a guy can't talk from the heart, from emotion, and tell that story and explain to the people why they got to see this match worse than they did to see their mother hooked up to a machine in the intensive care ward, then they ain't top guys, and they need to wrestle underneath somewhere.
Is there any advice that you can give people to really feel it? I mean, you touched on some things that they can do, but I mean, just in case a guy just really isn't getting it.
If you're going to have an argument with somebody, you don't sit there in your house for 3 fucking days thinking of cute things to say to him, because what you're going to do is you're going to get mad at something he did, and you're going to get up in his face, and you're going to tell him what you think of him. That's an argument. A confrontation. If you're going to have a fight with somebody, obviously you're going to think, God, I'm ready to go, but you can't just, I'm going to kick his ass. You gotta say it in a more colorful way, a colorful phrase. You can't just go out and say, you're a big phony. You're as phony as a get well card from an undertaker. Make it colorful somehow. There's so many different ways. There's no real set, hard and fast rule. Everybody talks different. Jerry Lawler was tremendous. Jerry Lawler could fill up a building with an interview. Terry Funk, Ric Flair, Mick Foley, Arn Anderson. And none of them really were similar to the other. They all had different ways to do it. But all of those guys were great promos, great talkers. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. Who's going to say shit that The Rock says? But the people love it. Because he's The Rock. You got to make it colorful. You can't just stand there and go, well, I hope to win this wrestling match, and if I do, I'm going to take my purse, and half of it I'm going to put in the bank, and the other half send home to my mother. No, Flair would go, woo, when I win the Crockett Cup, $1 million, then I'm going to go to the Marriott, and the drinks are on me, and ladies, none of you can be first, but one of you can be next. And people go, fuck, we got to see this fucking guy.